He charged me with resisting arrest.
Get that confidence in jail.
I object.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Allegedly Bravo. I'm Cash.
And I'm Lauren.
You guys, we are riding high.
You have no idea what we just did.
You have well, now you do know.
Well, now you know.
Now you know because the episode is labeled. You guys, we just interviewed Dr. I can't. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm so excited. We interviewed Dr. Tiffany Moon.
Oh my God, you guys. I could cry. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank Tiffany Moon. I'd like to thank Wellbutrin for leveling out my level so I could confidently ask. Like, what the fuck?
You guys, she did not hold back. She answered every single one of our questions. I'm going to be riding high forever. Like, I don't ever want to interview another housewife ever again. She's it. She has everything. She's smart, family woman, married.
She's the moment.
She's the moment. She's the year. She's the century.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, you guys are really, I think, going to enjoy this interview. We get into some really cool stuff about her contract, about what it's like in the OR, etc., and so forth. And I don't want to give too much away.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we briefly talk about the Westcott drama, how it was handled by Bravo. We talked a little bit, like what the Bravo contracts look like. And then we asked her what she would do if she was asked to be on Ultimate Girls Trip.
So you're going to want to know what she said.
It's a fun 30-minute interview. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Allegedly Bravo, a very, very special edition. We have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Tiffany Moon of former Real Housewives of Dallas, but hopefully be back on our screen soon. And maybe
I like that.
I know, I do like that. So we are going to be just asking her some questions. First of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I'm sure the listeners are just as excited as we are.
Yeah.
And shocked that first of all we're doing this. But really, we wanted to just go through and ask you some questions about your experience on the Real Housewives of Dallas. And really, Lauren, do you want to start it off?
So I have a lot of questions. So since we're a law podcast, like we really have a lot of, listeners that are really interested in the legal stuff. So I have a question about like the big contract that like everyone's always like trying to get the details on. When you're a housewife, is your contract with Bravo or is your contract with like a production company? Or can you even answer that?
I'm not going to say anything. I think that's going to get me in trouble. And what would they do to me anyway?
Right.
I believe I'm not 100%. I would actually have to check, but I believe it's with the production company. And then the production company has a contract with Bravo to produce X number of episodes or whatever.
And so when you received that contract, did you do the initial review yourself or did you because you are a business woman extraordinaire and your husband is a businessman. Did you guys
lawyer.
hire
a lawyer?
But did you guys hire an attorney to do it or did you have your husband?
Well, I read through it initially myself and kind of scanned it and was like, I don't understand what this means. I had my husband looked at it and he had a friend who is an entertainment lawyer. And they made some red line changes and things like that. But it's a pretty standard contract. And me, it's not like I have any things that I can't show or businesses that I'm trying to promote on the show. So it was actually a very easy contract for me.
Okay.
I have a question about because you had your candle line and all that. When you bring your candles on the show or, Rinna bringing her wine or anything like that, do they get a cut or if your sales boost or anything?
I have no idea. They did not get a cut of any of my things, but I also didn't really pitch heavy my products on the show. Like
Right.
I didn't
No,
go on
right.
Housewives to sell more candles or sell more Three
Right.
Moons wine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we
'cause-
served the
yeah.
wine on the show. I gave the ladies a candle at one of the events, you know, but I didn't really like go on the show to grow my businesses. The businesses grew a little bit as a result of the show, which is excellent. But they didn't take a cent from me. I think the rule is that if you go on there like specifically to promote something, then they can take a percentage of your sales. I don't even know how they would enforce that, right? Because you'd have to show them sales records and things like that. I think it's just so that people know that they're not going on the show to do like a live infomercial.
Right.
Yeah, which
Right.
we've seen from some of our housewives.
Yeah.
I believe it. I fully believe that.
So then you said that it wasn't your motivation to go on the show to pitch a project. Then what was your motivation or the reason why you finally pulled the trigger and accepted their offer to join?
You know,
Dallas?
I was kind of having a little bit of a midlife crisis. I had been a physician for about 10 years. Deandra and Mama D had been egging me to do the show since like season 2 when she joined. And it was always like, no, I have a career, I have a family. It's really not my cup of tea. And then I had this kind of midlife crisis where I'm like, oh my God, I've done everything in my life exactly by the books. I'm a good girl. You know, I graduated at the top of my medical school class at the age of 23.
That's
Then
nuts.
went to residency, got married, had twins by the time I was 30, and was like a professor at the medical school and had never been in trouble. Don't have any, like, don't even have an unpaid parking ticket. You will not find on me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this because no one expects that I would. And I want to do it for myself. I want to have the sleepover that I never had. I never had girlfriends growing up. I had a very lonely childhood. And I was like, it's going to be fun. Deandra promised me that I would make all these new girlfriends, that we would get invited to like fashion week and red carpet events, and that production would pay for us to go on a fabulous trip. And 0 of those things happened. So
I know. I just feel like you got I feel like you came on at such a difficult time. One, because you were a doctor during the pandemic.
Yeah.
2, you were coming on when they were filming in the middle of a pandemic. And then I feel like you didn't get a good shake at it. And that's why I'm really hoping you can come back, because I thought that storyline when you did open up about how you didn't really grow up with girlfriends and you were looking forward to that opportunity to spend time. Because I do feel like they picked on you a little bit, but you know, I miss you on our screen.
Oh, well, no, I mean, part of me is salty that I just got a bad experience. I feel like I joined at the wrong time. I feel like I joined the wrong cast. I feel like if I joined Beverly Hills or another city, I would have done much better, you know, and I can be salty for all these things. Like my cast trip was to Oklahoma, like the year before they were going to Thailand. I was like, what the hell? You know, I told myself I can be salty for all of these things, and I am a little bit. Or I can just be grateful that a boring doctor like me got the chance to go on a show like that. And it gave me exposure and helped me grow my audience. And I get the sweetest messages from people saying that, like, you know, that resonated so much with me. And thank you for verbalizing how I feel, but could not put into words. So, you know, I'm both salty and grateful simultaneously.
Yeah. I personally thought it was super cool to like watch Housewives and see such a force. Like, you're powerful. I mean, you're a doctor, a mom, like all the stuff you just said that you did before you were even 30 years old. Like, I'm 31. I have done none of that. Like, it's incredible. And watching you and seeing you come home from work and shower and then hang out with your kids, like in the middle of a pandemic and all this stuff, I was just like, that's cool. Like, that's a real housewife. Like, you know, and I miss that. And I love you. And I hope that you come back, like even on like a Married to Med vibe. I don't know. That'd be cool.
We talked about that. We said you should do a Married to Medicine Dallas version. I just think it would be spectacular because you are so intelligent, but you also have that glam to you. That is something that's appealable to a viewer. But really quick, I do have a question for you about your transition from being, I mean, you still are a doctor and anesthesiologist, but how was that when you joined the cast of Dallas? How was that perceived within the medical community or with your fellow colleagues or your doctors? do you think it? Oh, go ahead.
We really didn't talk about it much. I didn't really seek the advice or counsel of many people, except for my family and close friends. And I think the general consensus is like, why would she do that? You know, and a lot of people didn't understand the show. And before I was on it, I didn't really understand it either. But I did it as something that I wanted to do for myself. You know, that was my act of rebellion, was like, I'm going to do Housewives. And people were like, oh, that's so unprofessional. No patient will ever trust her again. You know, those sorts of things. And I'm like, you know, I would actually like to dispel the myth that you can't go on TV, be yourself, be funny, have an alcoholic beverage, and still be a damn good anesthesiologist. Like, where was that written in the textbook? Because I missed that part.
I know.
That just gave me goosebumps.
It kind of became a mission of mine. I'm like, I'm going to show them. I didn't miss a single day of work. I took extra shifts. It was the middle of COVID. I was full-time, which I am not anymore. And I was like, I'm a damn good anesthesiologist. And an okay housewife.
I thought you were the best on the cast, but that's just me.
So Lauren and I both were talking about this last night. How was it for you working in the middle of a pandemic and then having to come back and film with these women? Like, how were you able to relate, or did you have difficulties when they were having these petty conversations when you're thinking about real world issues and the stress of also raising a family, you know, keeping your husband happy, keeping all
your businesses up and
all
running.
your businesses in line? Like, did you find it difficult to relate to some of these women? And it's no disrespect because a lot of them own their own businesses, but you're truly working a traditional 9-to-5 job, more of like 12s, but
more like 7 to 7 jobs. It was really hard. I was working full time. I didn't miss any shifts, never called in late, you know, none of that stuff, because I knew that I was under a magnifying glass. And I was being called to do anesthesia for patients who were COVID positive, like known to be COVID positive, intubating them because they were in respiratory distress or they had cancer and needed to have their operation. Like, it couldn't be delayed. And then I'd come home and that evening or the next day have to film with the ladies, and they'd be like, I don't know if this new rug is going to fit in my new $7 million house. And I'm just really worried. And what are we going to do? And I'm like, I'm really anxious because I saw 4 people at the hospital today and 2 of them are like probably not going to make it. Like, they did not look good when I left. I'm worried about my children. They were out of school and I was like, oh my God, they're not learning. How are they going to be little geniuses when they're out of school?
I forgot about that.
Nanny, my lovely nanny, had just arrived from China. She's an au pair. And her English was not great. You know, so my kids are basically at home with someone who barely speaks English. And I was like, whoa.
But then you don't want to talk about it on screen because you don't want to be a negative, you know, like a Debbie Downer.
Right. And that's not what they wanted me to talk about. And when I did try to at least make reference to it a little bit, the ladies were just absolutely not interested in talking about it. Like, it would, you know, they were like, how's your day, Tiffany? And I was like, oh, it's kind of rough. Like, the hospital's full. My patient was really sick. And they're like, and what about you? You know, it's like, they had no
where'd you get your purse? Blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah. That feels to me like it would be difficult. Like, I mean, because we, as people who work in the law, like, we hear some crazy stuff and then you come home and I can't imagine. And then trying to like entertain America. Like, that is so much pressure.
It was a lot. I think my mental and emotional energy was spent on all work and filming. And I think I suffered a lot. And I think my family suffered a lot because I didn't spend a lot of time with them during that time. That's why when we were like maybe going to do another season, and when it started showing, like the first several interviews I did, like on episode 2 or 3 of when season 5 aired, and they're like, are you going to do another season? And I was like, probably not.
Well, and also the way that your season ended, it wasn't just the normal ending of a housewife season. You were really, you were in the tabloids, you were being talked about all over because of this, unfortunately, the Westcott drama of it all. And I think that was an added pressure, and that I can't even imagine having to deal with.
Do you feel better?
I mean, I feel good about what I did. I
Mhm.
think that, because I was at the time that it was happening when
It was
basically
wild.
it was basically everything was like okay until they went below the belt and tried to
Yeah.
come after my actual job, which
Yeah.
of course she wouldn't know anything about.
Right.
So when they started insinuating that I was like showing up to work, less than optimal, and that
I mean,
I
it's
was a racist,
defamatory
and then
to,
tagging my employer, like literally tagging my employer,
Yeah.
is when I was like, okay, now look what you did.
Yeah.
yeah.
Look what you
That's when
made
I
me
had to
do.
get Mr. Lawyer on the phone, and he took care of things.
Good.
So
Yeah, a good chunk of my first season
Yeah.
minuscule paycheck went to pay Mr. Lawyer.
so unfortunate.
They
Well,
should
it's
have to
okay.
pay for it.
So
It's okay.
we have a question for you related to that incident, because we don't want to give it a lot of energy because you're so much more than that, and your career, I feel like, is so much more successful. But we want to know kind of the behind the scenes process of how that was handled with Bravo or the production team. Like, does Bravo have an HR team, or is it a rep that reaches out to try to mitigate or mediate this drama, or was it really left to you to handle the situation between you and your fellow cast member and her family?
I mean, I'm sure that they have an HR team and they were scrambling about, because technically we're like, I don't know if we're employees of Bravo, but you know what I mean?
Independent
Right. I mean, you're
contractors.
kind of
Right.
front facing.
No one reached out to me. I, had a hissy fit and like changed my bio to like ex-housewife or former housewife.
I remember that. We love that.
I was like this whole stir, and I was like, oh my God. And then I got in trouble for doing that. And then after that, I was advised to not talk about it anymore from that point on, unless it was through my lawyer.
Oh,
So yeah, I was like,
Whoa.
you can talk to my lawyer about it. And then I think Kate Arthur wrote a really nice piece in like Variety, and other publications came out. But basically the fans and the press were like spot on. You
Yeah.
can't fool people. These are like
right.
intelligent people,
Right.
and yeah, so after that I never heard anything again. So that was it.
Wow.
And I said, I will never work with her ever again.
No,
So
No.
rightfully
if you
so.
are even thinking of inviting her back, just don't even invite me.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think we all agree we'd rather have you on our screens and your family.
Yeah.
than
I would,
family.
if she was on, I would not watch. Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
yeah,
So-
I don't think she would have been asked back, but I don't know that for a fact.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pit inducing, like it's disappointing to like hear that like confirmation of how this was handled was just
Yeah.
as bad as I kind of thought. And, that we don't know for sure that she wouldn't be asked back, like in a hypothetical sense, is like
Well, it's unfortunate that it was
not
put
good
on
for the
your shoulder.
brand.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that it was put on your shoulders and you had to really deal with it. And I'm somewhat surprised by that. But in a more positive note,
I have
We
a
have a
question
question.
about surgery.
Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry. Can I ask you about like I know we only have 10 minutes or so, but I have questions about when you're doing anesthesia on a person in surgery and they're completely out and you need to get consent for something. Do they stop the whole surgery and then you wake the person up, or how do you obtain consent when someone's under anesthesia?
Oh, is she frozen?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Even days before, did we freeze?
Just a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit.
we
Yeah.
froze.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. Wonderful.
So
Okay.
are we.
Are we all?
Yeah. So we consent patients preoperatively days ahead or sometimes the morning of. So usually they'll go to pre-op clinic, and that's when we sign all the consents. They get their EKG, blood work, and that's like a week or two before surgery. Sometimes we have people who don't go to pre-op clinic because they're pretty generally healthy and they're having a minor procedure, and we just do everything the morning of. So I consent patients for anesthesia all the time, go through the risks of a general sedation, having a nerve block, all those sorts of things, so that they know what to expect intraoperatively.
Oh my gosh, that just, you're so smart. So can you talk to us about what is the longest surgery you've sat through?
Well, we did like a finger implantation surgery that was 16 hours. And
my
it was
God.
at the beginning of my call. And then at the end of my call, it was still, and then someone tapped me out because
I
my
was going
shift
to
was
ask
over.
you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, is it like pilots where you can only fly for so many hours and you have to be tapped out?
It's not as strict as pilots. Pilots have very strict rules. Like you can only fly this
Yeah.
much once you're over. No, I mean, I've done a 36-hour shift before and been in the OR most of that time. There should be stricter rules actually, but currently there's not. And I've definitely been in the OR for long periods of time. But now that I'm a faculty member, I usually float around because I'm usually running more than one operating room at the same time, usually two.
Oh, wow.
So when you say you're a faculty member, are you taking care of, or are you training residents?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So about half the time I'm with residents and half the time I'm with a CRNA. And so they have to stay with the patient. So someone from the anesthesia team has to stay in the room at all times. And then
Okay.
I bounce back and forth. That way the three of us can run two operating rooms. So it's, we call it like the anesthesia care team.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you're doing that part-time, not full-time, correct?
I'm part-time now. I was full-time when we
Yay.
were filming and I'm part-time now
nuts.
and I love it.
Yeah.
It gives me more time to run my businesses, spend
Mhm.
time with my kids, like get my hair done.
Yeah.
Everything, all the life things, because I'm not at work like 60 hours a week. And you have to remember, like back when I was full-time, that was close to 50 to 60 hours a week.
Oh, I
Yeah.
no doubt.
Because of
Wow.
call. Yeah.
Mhm.
So as a faculty member, or, where you're actually kind of a head honcho, I feel like in the hospital, are you carrying your own separate medical malpractice insurance, or is it all through the hospital?
No, it's all through the hospital where I
Okay.
work. Yeah, in private practice, I think that may differ.
Mhm.
But where I work, like I have a salary from the hospital. If I take call, I get more money and they take care of all the malpractice and billing as
Oh,
well.
good.
Oh, that's
Right.
nice.
So I don't have to, I just show up to work. You know what I mean? I don't have to like
You're like,
worry about
with
all
my
that
new hair.
ancillary stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you feel like you got out your, what'd you call it, your midlife crisis? Like, do you feel like you like shook it off or like burst through it, or do you still have more wild oats to sow?
I don't know. I got a little taste of what it was like to be carefree and wild. And now I'm like, oh, maybe that's kind of fun to do things for yourself and not because you feel obligated or because your parents expect you to, you know? So I might have more up my sleeve in the future, but currently nothing pending. And I feel like the experience, like I wanted it to just be like the best sleepover ever, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously it was not. I tell people my experience was very underwhelming in many regards. And so I'm a little sad at how it turned out, kind of like a relationship. You know, you date someone, you just think it's going to be like awesome, you're going to fall in love, and then it's like blah.
Yeah, a big dud.
Can I ask you a
Big
question?
dud.
Something that really, really, really bothered me about your season was you have a fear of water, correct? And not knowing how to swim, right?
I almost drowned when I was little because my
Oh
dad
my
took me fishing and wasn't watching
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
So that was something that a storyline that I didn't understand why they were allowing that storyline to go on with, wasn't it Carrie? I felt like it was, I
Her
hate using,
and Cameron were like whispering and like devising later as I watched. When you watch the show back,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what they were whispering about. You don't know it right then. They thought it would be hilarious to push me into the pool wearing a brand new all white outfit
Yeah.
after I had paid to do hair and makeup for her birthday party, like in her honor, bought her $100 bottle of tequila, brought it to her birthday party, you know, came after I got off work one night and she just shoved me in the pool. And it's not like I was going to drown, but I don't like being in bodies of water. I don't like having water on my face. It's like a thing.
Yeah. Well, especially fully clothed, it's suffocating.
well, it's
Yeah.
Everything sticks.
yeah.
Well, and
it's
all my
inappropri-
makeup was like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's inappropriate for somebody who's not afraid of water, and then it just takes it to a different level for somebody that has a legitimate fear. And I don't like this word. I don't like the word bullying because I feel like people use it so much that it's lost its value. But I truly think that was a perfect example of cast members actually bullying another cast member to the point where it could cause some type of like PTSD or trauma. But I was really surprised by that, and it really bothered me. But anyways, in more fun news or questions, I guess, we have an idea. Would you be open if you were asked to go on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip? Would that be something you would be open to participating in?
Yeah, I'm down because Deandra, one of the closers that she used to get me to agree to meet with the casting director was we get to go on a really fabulous trip and they pay for everything on this trip. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll talk to the casting agent. And my fabulous trip was to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that sucked. And I still feel that Bravo owes me a trip.
They
And
do.
I agree.
I'm
Angie,
down to go on a trip with like 6 other women. Why not?
Why
Yes.
not?
Angie, if you are listening, get Tiffany, Dr. Moon, her trip that she deserves.
Where would
ultimate
you go?
girls trip we deserve.
Somewhere fabulous, like with history or a beautiful
Ooh,
beach, like
I'm saying
not
Greece.
Oklahoma, not
Greece.
Not
Italy,
Oklahoma.
Australia, New Zealand, Fiji,
Thailand.
Maldives, Thailand, Singapore,
Mexico,
Malaysia.
anywhere but there.
Anywhere but Oklahoma.
Oh, sorry.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, you definitely deserve to have a redo of your trip for sure.
Yeah, where do I sign up for Ultimate Girls Trip? I'm down. And I don't know like any of the other housewives or like what their old storylines were because I never watched it. So like actually I will just evaluate the people based on my actual interactions with them instead of like, oh, that's the girl that did this and this.
Yeah.
And I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So like I would have a clean slate with everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. I would pay good money to see that. And I'm excited. We're going to tag Bravo and hopefully they get the ball rolling.
Bravo, I will keep my Peacock subscription if you put Tiffany Moon on season 4 of Ultimate Girls Trip. So,
well, thank you so. I know you have to run to your next appointment, but thank you so much for coming on and answering all of our questions. Like literally nothing was off limits. Thank you so much for being such an open book.
Yeah, whenever people are like, oh, is there anything we shouldn't talk about? I'm like, no, like mention it all.
Mention it all.
Well, before you go, are there any projects you're working on that you want to plug or anything you want to promote besides your wonderful candle business that we all love and adore?
No, just I'm making fall scents for aromasthesia because
Ooh.
fall is like big for candle season. Right now it's 100 degrees. It's not really candle season, but we're making like a Christmassy one and like a
Ooh.
pumpkin and orange one. So
Yum.
I literally have 10 candles on my desk right now.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, just working on expanding aromasthesia and getting the brand out there. Cause the other day somebody was like, you have a candle line? I didn't know. And I was like, damn it. And then I called my marketing team. I was like, you guys are doing a bad job.
I have
You're
an
in trouble.
Can you create like a high and like seasonal candle that's shaped like a pill or a pill box or something? Because I feel like, because all of your candles are named after medications or some type of correct
Chemical.
I
Yeah,
just think it'd
they're
be
like,
so fun
I
to
will
have
make
a
you
pill.
a Xanax candle shaped
Never
like
taken
a
one.
Xanax bar.
Never taken one, but I will definitely buy the Xanax bar
Yeah.
candle.
Thank you so much. And we'll let you go. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. We really, really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
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 Oh my God. Wasn't that so fun? You guys, it was everything we promised and more. We really delivered.
We delivered. And you know what? Our interview skills, they always need work, but it's hard to interview such a star. Like, talk about being starstruck. I feel like there's no other, you could show me Angelina Jolie, president of the United States, wouldn't bat an eye. A housewife, I turn into rubber, like a blubbering mess.
Literally, I'm still a blubbering mess. I don't think I could have given her any more compliments. But now it's time to do our criminal behavior.
Wait.
Oh,
I think there's one point in the interview, and I'm sure you guys will let us know, where both of us go to ask a question, but then it just turns into us talking about how much we love her. And then we're like, yeah.
okay. So,
Okay. It was so fun. But anyways, as we wrap up every episode, we are going to talk about our criminal behaviors. Do you have one?
yes, I do have one because you told me to have one. And so I did. My criminal behavior is you probably don't fall victim to this, Cash, but on TikTok, you scroll through video after video after video, and video after video, you hear the fucking chirp of someone's fire detector.
Yes.
Chirp.
Yep.
That's my criminal. Change your goddamn batteries.
The fact that people can go hours or days or even weeks without fixing it. I've been on work meetings where somebody has it going off in the background and it doesn't even faze them.
I don't understand it.
I
I
know.
don't. If you are someone who isn't upset by the chirp, I actually don't want you to message us. Actually, I actually don't.
Just stop following us.
Just unfollow us. Yeah. So that's my criminal behavior. Like, okay, first of all, change your thing. Second of all, I now move to make fire detectors attached to the electricity with the battery as a backup.
Yes, agree.
Okay. I've been heard.
So my criminal behavior is, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to think this is unoriginal, but the Instagram feed changing to more of a TikTok style, I guess.
Oh.
So do you remember a couple months ago, I messaged you and I asked you if your Instagram feed had changed?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, mine is appearing black. And it wasn't because I had it on dark mode. It just switched. And it was this new platform where it like pulled the video or the photograph closer to you. And it changed like the formatting and everything. Well, I guess I was part of the test group, so I got it early, but I guess they rolled it out recently to everybody. And like Kim Kardashian was posting, turn Instagram back to, or stop, make Instagram again. It's not TikTok. You guys, God bless Kim Kardashian and all of the celebrities because they put it back to the original format and my phone is back. Like, I can't tell you.
That's insane. So your phone was held hostage by Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
Held your shit hostage.
He held it hostage
until Kim Kardashian got up there and fought for your rights like she does for everyone else.
He did it without my consent. And something that I find very, very interesting. It's like, if you're going to roll out a new platform and test it on people, you better have a feedback section.
Have a feedback section and also have a opt-in.
But do you want to know the craziest part about that test, the test format that I had?
Yeah.
When I would be listening to Spotify or listening to a podcast or music or something, and then I would open up my Instagram app and start scrolling, any video that had audio would shut my music off or the podcast I was listening to off.
Oh, hell no.
The glitch was fixed once they rolled it out to everybody, but I was scrolling on my phone last night and it switched in the middle of my scroll. Do you remember when Instagram was brand new?
Yes. And they had only pictures and then they switched to like adding video and the video would automatically play on full fucking blast when you were scrolling. Like that was traumatizing.
Remember the days of Instagram where we didn't have ads?
Remember the days of Instagram when only people with an iPhone had one? And so I didn't have one until college because I didn't have an iPhone.
I didn't have one until I was in when I was in college.
I was so poor.
So poor. So poor. But anyways, that's my criminal behavior. And please let me know if anybody else was a part of that test group because we really suffered and nobody understood how we were suffering. Because when I told Lauren that, she goes, "That's what mine looks like. It's on dark mode." And I was like, "It's not."
So funny. That's exactly what I said.
But I was like, "You don't get it. It looks different."
I'm like, "No, you just have to get used to it." Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you next week with a fun little update.
Bye.
Bye.